I believe we are live now. I don't have any audio from you.
Yeah, we're live. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Oh man, so it's good to be back on the War Zone tonight, and it's good to have Davey back for the zillionth time. No, it's been a couple weeks. Was this number seven or eight, Davey?
I think I've lost count. It's one of those.
Yeah, yeah.
Close enough.
Both of those are great numbers. So anyway, um, it's good to have people that'll be joining us tonight. Man, there's so much going on around the country. If you don't believe it, just number one, turn on your TV, or number two, just let your spirit kind of bear witness to what's happening around the world and the earth. So just a lot happening. We're just I don't know how many days, what 30 days, 30 something days away from election day, November 5th. There's a lot happening in the natural. There's a lot happening in the spirit. There's a lot leading up to where we are. We didn't get to this place overnight. And so some of the things that's been being brought out over the past 7 weeks with Davey and the information that he has gathered just didn't start yesterday. This has been going on for decades and centuries. So, and it's been leading up to where we are today. And we're just seeing the kind of the head of the snake show itself now. And a lot's going on in our country. There are lots at stake, Davey. A lot of things are at stake, and God is speaking loud and clear if we're just listening. God has a purpose. God has an original intent for our land, for our country, and I know that God's will prevail. Matthew 28 says um, that he was going to use people like us to get the word out, to see a move of God in the earth, to see His original intent established in the earth, just the way He planned it. And so all we have to do is walk out in obedience, listen to uh, His voice, and do what we need to do on our end. And God takes care of the rest. I mean, it's like a great partnership between heaven and earth. And I'm just excited, even though there's some interesting days coming down the pipeline with all this interesting weather. That's another whole story. It's another whole trail we can go down. Just a lot of stuff that people are talking about. And Davey's been ringing my phone about 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, my room
I'm
lights
trying to
up.
adjust my time, but it just ain't working.
It ain't yeah. I mean, my room just lights up because I'm in a dark room at night when I sleep, and I'm like my eyes open, and it's like I think the sun's up, and I said, no, that's Davy. So Davy's feeding this information, and I'm watching those videos, and I am blown away with what's happening, what has happened, and what is to happen. But let me tell you guys, I will affirm to you guys tonight that God's up to something big. And even though there is an adversary, there's opposition, there's always will be opposition. God does none of this takes God by surprise. So with nothing more to be said at this moment, I'm going to turn it over to Davey. Again, welcome, Davey. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for clarification. Thank you for this timeline. It is helping a lot of people out.
Appreciate it, Jamie. It's like I said in session one or two. I prayed and I asked the Lord, God use me, help me to understand what's happening. When we saw the riots in 2020 break out, I knew something was not right. I felt in my spirit it was just unrest, and then the dream from I believe it was Coverstone was his last name, where the fist balled up and hit the calendar. Numbers went everywhere. Well, we saw what happened with the election of 2020. Um, and it's interesting that you mentioned, God using just ordinary people. I was explaining to somebody the other day. They were talking about, well, and I'm just going to paraphrase here. It wasn't the exact conversation, but the conversation was, hey, you're doing these things, you're getting this message out. And I told this person, I said, you know what? I am one grain of sand on a full beach of people, each one being a grain of sand that God is using during this time. we're reaching a small group of people. There are other folks doing the same thing in a different light, reaching others. And it is amazing to see how God is just showing himself. I mean, it's almost to the point that it's so clear it pushes you into unbelief sometimes. It's like, whoa, God doesn't operate that way. It's always been this big mystery. And he's coming out calling names and putting dates down. And I mean, it's just, it's amazing. So um, I'll start with kind of where we left off on the slides, if that's okay with you. And
Absolutely.
we'll go for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, about 8:15. And
Yep. Yep.
we'll end it there, see how far we get. All right. Let's see if you want to bring the slide up, Jamie, to full view, or
I think
Josh.
you'll have. I I think you'll have to do that, Davey. I don't think I have
Okay,
command
let's
of that.
see. I don't know that I can do it from my end, but maybe we'll fumble through it here. It's maximized on my end, Jamie.
Okay.
Uh,
I'll work on it while you take off.
okay, yep. So it's right there. You do at least have a small view. So I'll read it. So this word was received September 3rd, 2022. Essentially, it says revival will explode all over this earth like wildfire. That's kind of what you were just talking about in the introduction. That is what the news will want to report on more and more about all the miracles that are going to break out everywhere. My power and my goodness will no longer be denied. And that word was September 3rd, 2022. And listen to the report here uh, for Kentucky University. Okay, so that's just one example, and I think those are just small, like sparks, if you will, of the revival that we're actually going to see when we see this deliverance that we've been talking about over the last 7 weeks. February 18th, 2023, over 2,000 people gathered and marched in the Jesus Revival of 2023 in Santa Monica, California on Saturday. Um, another prophecy. Um, it was given out. Now remember, these are pieces of the full prophecy. Okay, so these excerpts here are just pieces. February 7th, 2022. But first, you will hear of more slip ups on live TV, of people telling the truth about Biden without meaning to. President Obama, they will say, and laugh it off as a joke. Truth is coming out like a flood. These are the days truth will prevail. Listen to this. President Obama announced that, pardon me, President Biden. Whoa, that is news. God cannot get more specific than that. I don't know how anyone could deny that prophecy. That's one of my favorites there. Um, all right, next slide.
The night team, it starts.
Now, this is the next two slides are about essentially about Biden taking falls. This was September 16th, 2022. Prophecy was given. Biden will fall again, which will signal his final fall and removal from his supposed power. Now, remember, we're on the backside of Biden's fall already, right? So, but back then we weren't. All right. So check out what the Lord has said here and watch what happens. But I want to finish reading this prophecy. He is a fake, talking about Biden, but he is more of a fake than you realized. You said, Lord, how's that possible? You will soon see, my children, what I mean by this. I'm going to let people think about that one. Okay. But watch these videos. Here he goes. Biden stumbles and falls while boarding Air Force One. That was the video that you just saw. All right, now I want to go to this next slide because it has a little bit more of the falls and another prophecy. June the 20th, 2022, the Biden will fall again, but this time in a much bigger way. I told you a fall on live TV will signal something bigger that will occur. So watch what happens next. It will surprise you with what will take place. Down he goes. You can see the headline there. Joe Biden takes a massive fall at the Air Force Academy. February 23rd, 2023. So be prepared because this is the fall of many governments at one time. But I say again, you will see a mighty fall of entire governments. They will fall and spark others to fall, just like you've seen the imposter. Remember, I said I'd let you think about how much of a fake he is. You've seen the imposter fall up the stairs again, like I said he would. You will continue to see him fall upstairs, downstairs, and off the stage. You will also see his fall and mental decline come faster and faster. Okay, that was in February of 2023. Here's where he falls up the stairs. Did you see that one? Let me play that one again. We got to play that one. This is the upstairs one. Stumbles there. All right, switching over to France. July 17th, 2022, watch France. An uprising will take place there. The people will turn against their leaders with the next move they make against their own nation. Nations are rising up all over the world, and resistance is growing against the New World Order. Remember, we talked about the New World Order a lot in session 1 and 2. And here it is mentioned in prophecy. Growing against the New World Order, trying to take over. They were too soon. It's not time yet. It's my time, saith the Lord. Okay, look at these videos in France. Just riots. I'll play them all at one time so you can kind of look at the riots there, the protests, streets on fire. Macron's pension reform ignites the biggest protest in 50 years, and chaos in France forces King Charles III to postpone a state visit with lavish ball in Versailles Palace. That was March 24th, 2023. And this is some of the riots and protests as a result of Macron, uh, the pension reform. Okay. Right. April 9th, 2022, a crash. Yes, a crashing of the markets will take them all out and strip them of their wealth, their power, talking about the cabal and their influence in this world. I will say again, my children, it is all going to be okay. Do not fear. This is for them, not you. This will bring in wealth of the center bring in the wealth of the sinner, and it will be given to the just. This is the year for the wealth transfer to a degree no eye has ever seen or experienced before. So that was in 2022. And I've mentioned before some of the prophecies. I don't quite understand the timing on those. I would have thought like, okay, that should have already happened. But you never know what's happening behind the scenes. Um, Here's some headlines here. Small banks are crashing. Breaking news from around the world. Um, Moody downgrades the entire U.S. banking system, and that happened March 14th, 2023. Here's a word that was received May 4th, 2022. Alaska will be in your news. Mysterious earthquake like swarms, they will say. A shaking is occurring and the truth will be revealed. My children, do not fear the news. You are protected by me. This is a sign to show you. I give warnings and signs to show you I am God and I am good. Check this out. March 8th, 2023, swarm of quakes at Alaska volcano could mean eruption coming. And what did the prophecy say? Mysterious earthquake like swarms, they will say. So they use the word swarms. Harbinger, this word will be in your news. This will be a signal to you, my children, that the ones who are against you, their days are coming to an abrupt end. So this is April in 2022. This is an article March 10th, 2023. This is the final battle in 2024. Trump is America's harbinger of hope and retribution. Mentioned before on the last session, some of the weird type prophecies where it just comes out and just mentions a word, right? So Wingate, I say this name will be in your news for a shocking reason. All right, that was April 25th, 2023. This was June 8th, 2023. A train plows into a truck stuck on the tracks in Wingate. Okay, that was on the news. Isabel, this name will also be in your news. This was given out May 7th, 2022. And what happened here was Matt Hancock, this journalist, Isabel Oakeshott, released her text messages between her and Matt Hancock, who's a part of the British Parliament. Okay, now, and it was because the government released the so-called news of variants with the intent of causing fear around COVID. So she published these texts, and here they are over here on the right-hand side. You can read through them. This guy, Damon Poole, you can read some of the conversation there, and MOS leader trying to warn us off it too, rather than doing too much forward signaling. We can roll pitch with the new strand. Matt, this is what Matt says. We frighten the pants off everyone with the new strain, but the complication with that Brexit is taking the top line. So he's talking about the news headlines, and at the time, Brexit was big in the news. Okay. Okay, and he's talking about down here, big risk with the variant. Right-wing papers going for renewed push for let it rip on the basis the vaccine strategy is undermined. And Matt saying that is why we reassure on the vaccine. So you can see the behind-the-scenes discussions going that's being exposed by that journalist, Isabel. Disney will yet be again in your news. Controversy will surround them and the decisions they are making. Their sales will continue to fall, and so will their stocks to lows that haven't been seen by this company for quite some time. They will continue to fall in every direction. So keep your eyes on Disney, but this is some of the stuff that's already happened. So that word was given out May 2022. Okay. April 22nd, 2023, Disney plans layoffs for thousands next week. Some of its movies that came out, more Disney doom as Marvel's Ant-Man 3 collapses 71%. Prophecy November the 2nd, 2022. The Biden's cognitive function will be questioned more and more in these days. A sudden decline your enemies cannot stop, nor can they hide it. This is the time of the fall of the Bidens, saith the Lord of hosts. Now, it's an interesting S added on to the end of Biden, right? But this was before Biden's fall, right? I put this slide together before we even knew that they were going to basically plan a coup against him. Well, watch this video.
It may be most important. Committed that by 2020, we will have conserved 30% of all the lands and waters the United States has jurisdiction over, and simultaneously reduce emissions to blunt climate impact.
Did you catch that? Watch what he does. Now, this is you can't hear this. I'm not sure why, but essentially it's I believe that's the India prime minister there, and it was playing the song or the national anthem for India, and he puts his hand over his heart in that video. Here's a headline: His cognitive decline is going to get people killed. Former White House physician says Joe Biden is leading us to war. So you can see the headlines building, and also some video evidence. Those are just a couple of his cognitive decline.
It may be most important.
Okay. These are odd prophecies here. Cows will be in your news for surprising reasons. Shortages are about to see much worse. I remind you, this is a lie. This was January 14th, 2023. Texas cattle found dead with tongues cut out with apparent precision. Okay, that was in April of 2023. Texas explosion leaves at least 18,000 cows dead, one person critically injured. Okay. And if you were watching the news then, I don't have it on this slide, but there were, Jamie, there had to have been, I don't know, I'm going to say tens to hundreds of chicken farms just burnt to the ground. Food processing plants that some mysterious fire would burn them down. And you see things about the cattle. They were trying to cause shortages at the time. You look at the bridge disaster in Baltimore where the barge ran in. That's a major port there. Switching gears just a little bit here, August 30th, 2022. Watch the skies, my children. Unusual things will appear to take place, one sign after another. I will show you that I am moving and your enemies are all coming down, save the Lord. Word received October 5th, 2022. An unusual storm cloud will be seen, and a video of it will go all over because of how it looks. I told you these were the days of unusual things taking place.
We've seen pictures of the very strangely shaped object that appeared in the skies over Turkey. What is that? Exactly. It's not normal, no matter what they tell you.
That's Tucker Carlson back when he was at Fox News reporting on it. This is the video of the same cloud that apparently came back.
Last video that's attached down at the bottom. You look, this strange stuff has been happening in the sky. I attached a video of the clouds actually moving. Now today we actually have, it's almost like a red disc in the sky. This is not CGI. You can pause the video. You can download it. I'll make it downloadable. This is original raw fucking footage in the sky of this weird shape.
We'll pause that one. Look at this one here. Look at that cloud there. This is one in China. Look at those clouds.
سبحان الله تازه سينو تفلش سينو تفلش الملعب سبحان الله تازه.
So, you talk about these unusual clouds and things like that. And um, what does everybody think about? Well, let's just talk about the elephant in the room, why don't we? Weather manipulation.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to hear maybe some comments from the audience on what they know about weather manipulation, and if they're aware of any, I don't know, patents talking about steering certain types of weather. Uh, if you look at the news, I mean, you watch the news, Dubai does cloud seeding all the time. So cloud seeding is a very, very common method of inducing rain or causing rainfall and things like that, weather manipulation. Another thing you can look up is HAARP. That's HAARP. Okay, there was if you watched, and we know not today's, but it was yesterday's. Okay, he had a History Channel documentary, a piece of that talking about HAARP and how they use HAARP to manipulate the weather. There was also an experiment shown where, and in this experiment, they caused it was a scaled down model, obviously, but in this tube, they caused the water vapor to rush up to the top. Okay, and if you watch some of the hurricanes form, okay, in the very initial formation, you'll see right before the eye forms, especially if you go back and watch the videos of Milton forming, the one that's headed toward Florida, you'll see a burst of clouds come up through the center, okay, as that hurricane is forming. So do this, do some homework, go back and watch that experiment, and then look at the formation videos of Milton. And that is, I'll say this, that part, until I saw some of the patents that were applied for, until I saw some of the documentaries, that one was very tough to swallow. But I'll tell you, weather manipulation has been in prophecy as well. Okay, that's hard to understand, but it's hitting it on all cylinders now. So
سبحان الله.
many weather events and things are happening around the world will appear to look devastating. Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, flooding, violent storms, and economies crashing. The world seems to be more upside down, but I've told you, when you see this, I am turning the world right side up, turning the curse of the nations. And the ones who controlled it are enemies of Almighty God. They will completely lose power in this world. What you will see and experience is the fall of their kingdom, and that kingdom is crumbling now. So I won't go through all of these. Now, this was 18th, and a lot of times I won't put I'll make sure the prophet or the events that I'm showing happen or occur after the prophecy, right? That's what I'm looking for. But I wanted to show this. They're all around the same date. Okay, this is September 13th, September 9th, September 6th, September 8th, September 2nd, and just look at some of the devastating floods and stuff. This is Istanbul. So you see that flooding there. 2 dead after Hong Kong's heaviest rain in 140 years. All right, water gushes down the street in Istanbul as heavy rain triggers flood. Death toll from Brazilian floods rise to 31. September 5th, historic flooding event in Greece dumps more than 2 feet of rain in just a few hours. And this is actual flooding pictures in Spain that happened during that time. September 15th, 2022, batten down the hatches. Now, this is very specific. This phrase will be in your news. All right, here you go. New York City, this is the title of the article. New York City battens down the hatches and NYPD prepares to mobilize 700 disorder control riot cops ahead of ex-president's possible arrest. Okay. Talks about the indictments, and essentially what that prophecy is saying is that there will be no indictments, not the way they wanted it to go. And I think, as we've seen, three or four, I believe at least three of the indictments have been thrown out. Not totally sure on that. Josh can check me on that. And there's maybe one remaining with the sentencing postponed until, what is it, November the 15th. It was right after the election, or December the 15th or something like that this year. But just keep an eye on the indictments, and just remember, just because a person is indicted, right, and God has said there will be no indictments, all right, there's also a such thing as things being overturned and that person vindicated, which I think you're going to see in those cases, in almost all of them. Stanford University will be in major headlines. A scandal will be uncovered, and it will run deeper than anyone thought possible. People will be punished, and truth will prevail. Now, I don't know if this is a total fulfillment of that prophecy, but this article here, U.S. government social media, Stanford University censored true COVID-19 information. And that comes from the Twitter files that we talked about, I believe, last session, those coming out. And that's not done, by the way. If you watched a recent interview with Tucker Carlson and Elon Musk, Musk said that if Trump gets elected president, the Epstein list will be released. So keep an eye out for that. That's also been in prophecy that those names would be released. So that is going to happen, in my belief. All right. Hazmat. All right. This word will continuously be in your news. And what's interesting about this prophecy, this is 2023. It said continuously be in your news, because we've seen the word, at least I have, seen the word hazmat everywhere. The chemical explosions, right? You had the big train derailment in Ohio, right? That was the big one. Just the other day, we had a chemical fire in Conyers, Georgia. But look at these articles. Hazmat teams and firefighters are on the scene to a massive fire at a fertilizer plant with chemicals leaking inside. That was Bartlett, Texas. That was August 21st, 2023. This was March 22nd, 2023, where hazmat crews are on the scene of a hazardous chemical cloud, prompting a shelter in place. March 23rd, massive explosion at the Fennel, I guess that's how you pronounce that, chemicals plant. Numerous hazmat response teams. Now here's another one. October 18th, 2022, Cobra. This word will be in your news for a surprising reason. April 5th, 2023, snake on a plane forces South African pilot to make emergency landing. Rudolph Erasmus praised for his great airmanship after discovery of a deadly cobra in the cockpit of a private plane. Okay, they hit the news. All right, and I would say that's kind of a surprising reason for a cobra to be in the news. Can you imagine flying a plane? Now you up there and you're the pilot, right? Ain't nobody else. It's a private plane. Well, I guess you may have a co-pilot, and you look over and there's a cobra next to you. And now you got to control the plane at the same time. Good luck on that one. All right. December 1st, 2022, Dominion, this company will come down. Okay. It will be destroyed, and major exposures are about to come out regarding all this company has done against my eagle. It wasn't just about stolen elections. No, it runs much deeper than that. Their CEO is about to resign to save a fallout. But that may not work, because they won't stop me or my hand from destroying all they have done. What has been stolen will be given back, saith the Lord. Well, look at there. That's December 2022, May 18th, 2023. Dominion CEO predicts business ultimately goes to zero because of 2020 election lies. Is it election lies, or is it exposure of the lies that they did during the election? I think that's probably the right answer there. When asked to confirm that he is predicting Dominion will lose all of its business, Holos doesn't hesitate. Eventually, I suspect all of our customers will go a different direction, he says. It's just a matter of time. Okay. Lightning strike will be in your news for a significant reason. Okay. Why don't you check out some of these lightning strikes here? Watch this one. Check that one out. That is wild. Here's another one. That happened September 25th, 2023, and that is ground to cloud lightning. Okay, next slide. Okay, 3 prophecies at least on Mount Etna. This is important. All right, watch Mount Etna. Yes, that mountain has been erupting, but something unusual and strange is about to take place at the opening of that mountain. This just doesn't happen. Okay. Now, I have not seen this particular one about a meteor striking that I recall yet. A meteor will strike the mouth of the right inside during a meteor shower. It will explode and become a great eruption. The land will shake in that region when this occurs. This is a sign just to show you, my children, that I am in control. All of these things are just too impossible to believe. Some would say, I am God with whom nothing is impossible. The signs are for you to get up and believe me once again. Okay, I have not seen the meteor one yet. But I wanted to put that in there because it's about Mount Etna. So let's keep an eye on that one. As you see Mount Etna blow even greater than before, know, O United States, your states are erupting with truth. This truth will blow your enemy's narrative to smithereens, new evidence that cannot be refuted or denied. This evidence will not be ignored. My children, things are about to change significantly in a good way for many around the world. So remember in session 1, I said, by the time we get to the end of this, you're going to be smiling, all right? Because you're going to see so much, a barrage of evidence that God is showing himself. It's going to build your faith that these large prophecies that God's talking about, deliverance and bringing down our enemies, restoring the United States, it's just going to overwhelm you with joy. Mount Etna volcano erupts, raining ash on Catalina, forcing flight suspension at the local airport. That was in 2023. We'll read this prophecy March 8th, 2022. Keep your eyes on Mount Etna while this great eruption occurs. Major news will break regarding Italy. Major exposures are coming out, not only regarding the Vatican, but also concerning every person that helped with the big lie in 2020. So right there, in this prophecy about Etna, God is tying the Vatican with the 2020 election. If you remember, I don't know, this was very early on, Jamie. Do you remember? It was right after Christmas, I believe. It was right after Christmas 2020. There was a lady trying to reach President Trump, and she had information. And I know I'm going to mess this up, but I'm going to do it anyway. From a programmer that programs satellites, or did some programming to upload some of the votes in Italy. But direct evidence linking that person to the election still in 2020. And that just like disappeared. I mean, it just went quiet, you know.
Yeah.
She
I
was
remember.
supposed to meet with Trump, and so I don't know what happened with that.
I do remember that, Davey, and I remember they were meeting, or at least videoing part of that from a cab or a Uber or something.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that was, yep, you're exactly right, because they wanted to get the information out because they were actually scared for their life.
Yeah.
Um, February 2022, Mount Kilauea is about to erupt in a big way. It will sound like a massive explosion. Watch, because it will look like its top has blown off. Mount Kilauea will be in the news again. So this is February to March, same year. Explosive eruption lava will flow greater than times past. This will be significant to the one who is supposedly from there. Obama, your judgment is coming, and there is nothing you can do to stop it. So this is some of the footage here. And you can see that's June the 7th, 2023.
Kilauea volcano is erupting. It is located in Hawaii. Hawaii's Volcanoes National Park. Officials there have upped the alert level from watch to warning, by the way, as they evaluate the eruption and associated hazards. We just wanted to bring you these images, and we're, of course, going to bring you any more news if it comes out of the story.
Okay. Let's see how we doing on time. 8:05. We'll go for another 10 minutes. Okay, this is this one I distinctly remember, and I think a lot of folks will remember this. So this was March 13th, 2023, when this prophecy was given. It says, watch the skies, United States along the East Coast. Smoke will fill the skies across some states. This smoke will signal the destruction of DC and your enemy's ultimate fall. The wind will be so strong, it will move the smoke far to signal you, my children, their end has come. Okay. And this is June 8th, 2023. U.S. East Coast blanketed in a veil of smoke from Canadian fires. Isn't that amazing? Smoke, I mean, just covering the East Coast, predicted in prophecy. And it said, look at here in the prophecy, it said, the wind will be so strong, it will move the smoke far to signal you. It's coming from Canada, blanketing the East Coast. June 27th, 2022, excuse me. Instagram will be in your news. The social media platform is not how it appears to be. Okay. Look at this headline. This was June 7th, 2023. Instagram algorithm boosted vast pedophile network, alarming report claims. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to look at that headline and think about what we know now, right? The Diddy arrest, the accusations coming against Diddy, all those in Hollywood trying to separate themselves. Okay, so these human trafficking networks, these pedophile networks, they have a lot of tentacles. Okay, and a lot of folks are going to have to answer for what they've done. Zuckerberg's Instagram helps connect and promote a vast network of openly devoted to the commission and purchase of underage sex content. A Wall Street Journal investigation found certain emojis function as a kind of code, such as an image of a map, shorthand for minor attractive person. That's the M, the A, and the P. Okay, so when they show a map, that's what it stands for. Or one of cheese pizza, which shares its initial with child pornography. All right, we'll do one more slide. Let's see what we got here. All right. This is a neat one here for those golf fans. December 5th, 2022, Augusta. This name will be in your news for a shocking reason. Check this out.
Oh my God, everybody's okay. Holy smokes.
You remember when that happened? The massive tree fell at the Augusta. in Augusta, excuse me, at the Masters. So it actually suspended the golf tournament. Do not be moved by the Supreme Court and all the decisions they seem to be making right now. Nothing will stop what is coming for that court. Justice will prevail and justice will be served. Call them down and call them to be removed, the ones who do not belong in those seats of power. So Supreme Court rules West Virginia transgender athletes can compete on female sports teams. So God is saying, you know, don't pay attention to what they're ruling on. And it's also been talked about where those some of those judges and justices across, not only in the Supreme Court, across the nation, have been blackmailed, their families threatened for them to rule in a certain manner. Tarmac, this word would be in your news for a significant reason. So that's February 2023. 2 workers dead after getting trapped in a trench at JFK Airport in New York City. And there's the word tarmac tragedy. Okay, so that was that was Fox News. To put a date on it, that's April 3rd, 2023, and this is by Eyewitness News, same title there. Jamie, I think this is a good place to kind of wrap it up for tonight. And any discussion you want to have, or maybe some questions from the audience.
Well, it's been really deep and rich tonight. There's a lot of things, I think, like you said, that hasn't happened yet that are still to happen. And I think we need to keep our eyes open and our ears attentive to not just what's on the news, but what's being said from the Lord. I think, we're drawing a good parallel between the two. Man, as you're going through this stuff, and I'm rethinking of like words of the Lord has spoken to me, and dreams I've had over the years that, man, are running parallel with what you're saying here. I think it's going to get very interesting in the days to come. I think, I think about deep state. I'm not saying I credit myself with it, but before it was called the deep state, I had a dream, and the Lord showed me that it was a deep, dark, like a deep, dark shadow movement that was coming into the earth, which finally they named it deep state. But I think, as we came into the 2016 election, when Donald Trump came in the first time, he was talking about let's drain the swamp. But so the problem was, David, he didn't know how deep the swamp was.
Right.
And I'm not sure, David, if we know how deep the swamp is, because this thing goes back, it's ancestral. This thing has been passed down from generation to generation. To my control and wealth, manipulation. This thing has been passed on back to our founding fathers. It's just so interesting. And I think you used the perfect word, the tentacles that are attached, to the deep state. How far and how wide this reaches, who it affects, and who's got information on who can bring who down, who can threaten who, and who. I mean, you said it several times through the past 7 weeks. You got people just disappear off the face of the earth.
Take for example the Boeing. When the Boeing lead witness that he was going to testify, and what was it, just earlier this year, was found dead in his truck, with a suicide note.
Well, I saw today on the news where they got a new whistleblower.
That Boeing's been mentioned in prophecy. Yeah, Boeing's going down.
Yeah. So they said this. They said, this guy has to be careful because he might disappear. Like they might find him dead, because he came out and said, man, there's conspiracy here. There's outright lies. There's deception. This is criminal. He says, this is criminal.
Yeah.
And to bring a company like Boeing down, oh my goodness. It's just, I tell you, it stretches deep and it stretches wide. And here's the sad thing, David, as we close out tonight, there's so many people that just will not believe truth. I mean, it's like they have stuck their head in the sand of life and refuse to pull it out and see. And there's so many people. I mean, and I guess people on the other end of the spectrum can say, well, we're deceived because we're like, well, they're deceived. Well, somebody's deceived and somebody's knowing truth. And I'm not saying there's not bad actors on both sides. I'm not saying that, because they are, you know, but I'm telling you, this thing is bigger than we know. It's connected so far and so wide from like you said, from the Vatican to, from to England, to
Yeah.
here, to Ukraine, to Russia, to China. I mean, to Iran. I mean, it is so connected, and but I'm going to believe, like the prophets are saying, these bad actors are coming down, and
They're
God
coming
will have His day. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and why are we doing this, Jamie? I mean, why are we showing these seemingly insignificant things? Why is God showing us this? He's showing us this is to wake us up to say, "Hey, I am real. Listen to me.
Yeah.
Listen to what I'm saying. I'm going to show you some things and tell you some just small things before they even happen. All right, because I'm gonna build your faith." And I'm going to increase your joy because you're going into a turbulent time. That isn't that just like God?
Mhm.
Knowing what's coming, knowing how we're going to react, how fear is going to try to take over our emotions and cause us to react in a certain way, and to come out in so much detail to prepare us, not only giving us words of what's going to happen, but at the same time proving how true and real he is and how faithful he is.
Yeah, 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 absolutely, absolutely, and yeah, well said, Davey. And I'm so stoked to continue the journey from week to week. And again, man, it seems like you can just add 10 more slides every week. It is just unveiling before our eyes what's
I just
happening.
got a text before I came on. It said somebody said it's all unfolding now. I said, yes, it
Yeah,
is. I would have hoped it would have happened before now, but and I thought it was going to, but man, is it unfolding?
it is unfolding. I'll tell you, every morning I awakened and my mind's blown. I'm like, what? It's like, it's really happening. It's, at the thing is, God has to do it because one, he's God, but number two, that I mean, he's done it throughout history, Davey. I mean, there's prophecies, not just from people like Julie Green, but there's prophecies in the word that we read that still haven't happened. That you can timeline it just like you're doing, all the way up through the centuries, all the way up, through the Old Testament, all up through the New Testament, into modern day. I mean, you can track this stuff and say, oh my gosh, God has been speaking since the beginning. Yes, he has. He's been prophesying through prophets from the beginning. Yes, he has. Things are on a timeline. They always have been. Yes, they have. It's like, it's mind blowing. But but people have a hard time wrapping their mind around that God's actually pronouncing what's happening. But He is. He is. He's keeping hope within our hearts, knowing that no matter how bad it gets, He always, according to Scripture, He always makes a way of escape. There's always we come out on top, Davey. I read the end of the book. Guess who wins? The people of God win. The good people win. And the
And
enemy
we
knows
don't just
that.
barely. It's not going to be like by a kick of a field goal in the last 10 seconds. We are going to win, and we're going to win big time.
Big.
That's how big our God is.
You're right. You're right. I tell you, when they fall, they will fall like dominoes.
Yeah.
I'm talking about when the real fall. I mean, like I know we've seen a little bit of it, But there's going to be something out there. I don't know what it is, but there's something big that's going to happen, and you're going to see it just do this, and you're going to see everything in like in order just begin to fall and crumble right before our eyes. And you're like, yep, there it is.
And
There's
I'm
no
telling
mistake.
you, the folks that have been watching these sessions, or even those that haven't and have been doing their own research, those are the people that are actually going to be able to put the dots together as it starts falling. It's not going to be a total surprise to them. It's going to be an amazing event. It's going to be a wow event. Don't get me wrong, even for me. But they're going to be able to say, "Wait a second, I heard prophecy about this happening." You know. So
Absolutely. Well, guys, hang on until next time. So we're going to conclude tonight. But thank you, Davey, again for taking your time and using one of your gifts to timeline these events for us. And for those who are watching tonight on the War Zone, thank you for being with us, and we'll see you again same time next week. God bless.